Have you ever stopped to analyze every little detail about your partner's behavior? The way he answers your texts, slight changes in his tone, or even the way he guards his phone like it's a national secret? Well, what if I told you many women aren't imagining things when they feel suspicious? Here's a shocking fact. 21% of men admit to cheating at least once in a serious relationship. Let me break that down for you. Think of 5 women. You, your sister, your best friend, a coworker, and maybe your cousin. Statistically, one of you is being cheated on right now. Crazy, right? But wait until you hear the reasons why. Why do men cheat? Is it because the relationship has lost its spark? Did they meet someone better? Or is there something deeper behind it all? The truth is more complicated and honestly, more unsettling. Many men cheat for reasons that have far more to do with themselves than with the relationship. What's even more fascinating, these same patterns show up over and over again. In this video, we'll uncover the 3 biggest reasons why men cheat and, more importantly, how you can spot the signs before it's too late. Oh, and we'll also talk about how women have become modern-day relationship detectives, creating fake social media profiles, using hidden GPS trackers, and even becoming social media's CSIs. Are you ready to see the truth? Stay with me, because what you're about to learn might completely change how you view your partner's behavior. Let's dive right into the first and often silent reason men cheat: seeking external validation. Now, you might be asking yourself, if he's with me, why would he need someone else to boost his ego? The answer isn't as simple as you'd think. Even the most confident-looking men can wrestle with insecurities. They question if they're still attractive, if they have value, or if they're still desirable. When those doubts creep in, many men turn outward, not because they love you any less, but because they're trying to fill a hole within themselves. Picture a man who suddenly starts feeling invisible. Maybe he's overlooked at work, or maybe the spark in your relationship has faded. That emptiness can push him to look for places where he feels important again. Here's the twist: a lot of men cheat not because they're unhappy with you, but because they're unhappy with themselves. It's like they're testing their own value, asking, do I still have what it takes? From a young age, many men are conditioned to believe their worth is tied to being the best provider, the strongest, the most attractive. They grow up believing they always have to prove themselves. Not saying it's right, but it's the reality of the conditioning. Research from the Journal of Sex Research shows that men who cheat for external validation often struggle with low self-esteem, even if it's not obvious to their partner. How can you tell if this is happening in your relationship? Watch for these signs. First, he becomes obsessed with his appearance. He suddenly cares way more about how he looks. New clothes, different hairstyles, and expensive colognes pop up out of nowhere. Or maybe he's been skipping the gym for years and now he's practically living there. Second, he starts fishing for compliments. If he starts asking things like, do you think I still look good? Or how's my hair? That's a clue he's seeking outside validation. And third, he gets oddly defensive, asking innocent questions like, who were you texting? Triggers a huge reaction. Instead of answering naturally, he acts like you've accused him of a crime. Let me share a story. A woman noticed her husband was glued to his phone more than usual. He'd smile at texts, but insist it was just work stuff. Suspicious, she created a fake social media profile. She sent him a harmless message, and guess what? He replied. It started polite, but before long, he was flirting. He wasn't looking for a full-on affair. Just those messages were enough to boost his ego. And here's the kicker. This happens all the time. It starts small, but online messages and flirty texts are already a betrayal. If you're wondering whether this is happening, here's how to check. Monitor his social media. Is he liking photos of women outside your social circle? Following accounts that post provocative content? Look for sudden changes in his routine. Is he spending more time alone or avoiding sharing his plans? You have to pay attention to his attitude. Is he colder or overly affectionate? Sometimes guilt makes men act extra nice. Here's the truth. You can't fix his need for validation. That's on him. But by recognizing the signs and understanding the patterns, you get to decide what comes next. Cheating often reflects his insecurities, but the clues are always there if you know where to look. Now let's talk about the second reason on our list, one that's more common than you think: the lack of emotional connection. Ever notice how, in so many relationships, time turns passion into routine? Even in the healthiest relationships, life can start to feel predictable. The spark that once lit up everything can start to fade into a dull glow. And here's the ironic part: most men don't even realize they're emotionally disconnecting. They just feel like something is missing, and instead of facing it head on, they search for that spark elsewhere. You might be wondering, why doesn't he just talk to me about it? The answer is simple. Vulnerability is terrifying. Think about the last time you shared your deepest fears or insecurities with someone. Hard, right? For men, it's often even harder. They're conditioned to hide anything that makes them look weak or incapable. When men cheat because of emotional disconnection, it's usually not because they're ready to leave the relationship. Most of the time, they still love their partner. They just feel bored, disconnected, or stuck in a rut. Psychologists call this the search for novelty. Our brains are wired to crave excitement and unpredictability. In the early days of a relationship, your brain releases a flood of dopamine, the feel-good hormone that makes everything exciting. But as routine sets in, that chemical rush fades. And here's where the problem starts. Sometimes, all it takes is a simple message from someone new, a little flirt, or even a compliment to light up that dopamine rush again. If your partner is emotionally disconnected and searching for novelty, here's what you might notice. First, he loses interest in engaging with you, stops asking how your day went. Conversations become short, repetitive, or feel forced. Second, he's constantly distracted. Even when you're together, his attention is elsewhere, on his phone, the TV, or anything but you. Most of the time, you need to repeat yourself. And third, you feel a drop in physical and emotional intimacy. This isn't just about sex, it's about hugs, kisses, and small gestures of affection. He seems distant, like there's an invisible wall between you two. If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot and makes sure you don't miss our next videos. Let me share a story with you. A woman noticed her husband was spending more time than usual on social media. When she checked, she saw he was following dozens of fitness influencers and liking every single photo. When she asked, he shrugged it off, saying, "It's harmless." But here's the truth. He was using these interactions to get that dopamine hit. The excitement of seeing someone new, the thrill of flirting just enough to feel alive again. It's like this. Imagine you have a favorite dessert, chocolate cake with strawberries. You love it, but if you eat it every day for a month, you're probably going to start craving something different, like cheesecake or even a break from sweets altogether. See where I'm going? This kind of behavior isn't just innocent scrolling, it's a sign of emotional disconnect. Wondering if this pattern is showing up in your relationship? Here are a few ways to find out. Watch his social media habits. Is he following women outside of your social circle or liking photos that seem out of place? Pay attention if these interactions seem excessive. Track changes in his routine. Does he suddenly prioritize alone time or hobbies that don't involve you? If he's spending more time gaming, scrolling, or out with friends, that's a clue. Look for emotional withdrawal. Is he less present, less interested, and less engaged in conversations with you? Excitement outside the relationship. Notice if he's unusually excited about work events, new hobbies, or nights out with friends, but never suggest spending that kind of quality time with you. Emotional disconnection is like a crack in a wall. At first it's small, almost invisible, but if left unchecked, it grows into something impossible to ignore. When men cheat because of boredom or a lack of connection, it's often not about you. It's about that craving for excitement they can't find within the relationship. But here's the good news. These signs are easy to spot if you know where to look. Emotional or physical cheating starts as a symptom of disconnection. Don't ignore the clues. Not every affair starts with dissatisfaction or emotional disconnection. Sometimes the reason is as simple as this. The opportunity was there, and he took it. This third reason, opportunity combined with social influence, creates what I call the perfect storm. The temptation is right there. The environment makes it easy, and the risk of getting caught seems low. And here's the kicker. These situations often happen impulsively. Affairs born from opportunity aren't always premeditated. They're a split-second decision in the wrong place at the wrong time. Think about this. Your partner might be perfectly happy in the relationship. He's not looking for trouble, but suddenly he's on a work trip or at a bachelor party, surrounded by friends who say things like, "Come on, it's just one night, nobody will find out." This is where social influence comes in. A man surrounded by people who normalize cheating, whether it's coworkers, friends, or even the media, is far more likely to let his guard down. Dr. Robert Cialdini, in his book Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion, explains how powerful peer pressure can be. When people around you engage in a certain behavior, you're more likely to follow along, even if it goes against your values. It's the classic, everyone else is doing it, so why can't I? So, if you've been suspicious about a certain friend of your partner, you're probably onto something. Now, if you suspect your partner's environment is creating opportunities for infidelity, here's what to look for. He mentions new friends, but keeps details vague. Maybe he started hanging out with single guys or coworkers who love the party lifestyle. Or he talks about them often but doesn't invite you to meet them. Red flag. Frequent work trips or late nights out. He seems excited about these trips, maybe a little too much. When you ask about them, the details are fuzzy or the stories don't add up. One big clue? Sudden changes in his phone habits. He used to leave his phone lying around, but now it's always face down or locked. He deletes texts or becomes overly private with his messages. Less transparency about his routine. He starts staying out late with friends, but can't tell you exactly what they were doing. The more questions you ask, the more defensive he gets. Let me share a story that's all too familiar. A woman noticed her husband had started taking frequent business trips. A new thing for him. He always seemed extra eager to go, like he couldn't wait to get out the door. At first, she brushed it off, but then little things started to add up. He'd come back with vague stories, deleted text messages, and a sudden paranoia about his phone. Eventually, she found out that he'd been having drinks with a coworker on one of those trips, and what started as harmless quickly turned into something much more. Here's the lesson: the environment matters. When temptation and opportunity come together, the line between right and wrong can blur faster than you think. So how can you figure out if opportunity is creating problems in your relationship? Here's where to start. Look at his social circle. Is he spending more time with single friends or coworkers who normalize cheating? If he never introduces you to these people, it's worth paying attention. Pay attention to his trips or outings. Are there inconsistencies in his stories? Do details keep changing when you ask? Watch his phone habits. Does he delete texts, hide his notifications, or guard his phone more than usual? Notice shifts in his enthusiasm. He seems unusually excited about nights out, work events, or trips, but when it comes to spending time with you, the energy just isn't there. When cheating happens because of opportunity, it's not always premeditated. Sometimes the environment creates the perfect excuse, and impulsiveness does the rest. But here's the thing: opportunity only leads to cheating if someone allows it. If you notice your partner putting himself in risky situations or surrounded by people who encourage bad behavior, trust your gut. Cheating in the right environment isn't a plan, it's a moment of weakness, but the signs are always there. When the signs start popping up, when his routine changes, his phone habits shift, or his stories just don't add up, many women instinctively switch into detective mode. And you know what? That intuition is usually right. If something feels off, it probably is. One of the most common investigation tools women use: creating fake social media accounts to test their partner's loyalty. Why? Because a fake profile is an easy way to see how your partner behaves when he thinks no one's watching. A true story about a woman who created a fake Instagram profile and sent her husband a casual message. Within hours, he was flirting and complimenting the mystery woman. The fake profile confirmed what her gut had already been telling her. Social media is often where clues appear first. Here's what women look for: likes and comments. Is he liking old photos of someone, leaving comments that feel off? New followers or friends. Oh, did he suddenly start following accounts that don't seem relevant to his usual circle? Online activity. Oh, is he online late at night but not texting you? Who is he talking to? Beyond social media, women often pay attention to how their partner handles his phone and daily habits. Sudden phone secrecy. He starts hiding his screen, locking his apps, or always leaving his phone face down. Unexplained schedule changes, late nights, vague plans, or new work commitments that don't quite add up. There's nothing wrong with wanting answers. Playing detective isn't about paranoia, it's about protecting your peace of mind and trusting your intuition. If you feel like something's off, don't ignore it. Your instincts are stronger than you think. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. Cheating doesn't happen out of nowhere. The three main reasons men cheat, seeking validation, emotional disconnection, and opportunity, are symptoms of something bigger. Sometimes it's about their own insecurities. Other times it's about monotony or the environment they're in. But here's the good news: the signs are always there. By paying attention, understanding the patterns, and trusting your intuition, you can make decisions that are right for you. If you're seeing these red flags in your relationship, remember this: you have the power to decide what happens next. Whether it's confronting him, investigating further, or choosing to walk away, the choice is yours. Cheating is a test, but it's also an opportunity to learn who you are and what you truly deserve. If this video resonated with you, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever been in a similar situation? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else feel less alone. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel for more content on relationships. Turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Share this video with someone who needs to activate their detective mode. See you.